Hi everyone, welcome to tutorial 5 on how to use CodeSnap 2600 to create mini games for Atari 2600. Okay, let's continue from where we were on tutorial 4. So we can load the tutorial. You'll find the zip with all the tutorial in the HIO page. So we can just select tutorial 4 and we can try it. So essentially we had a player moving in the screen and we were able to fire. Oh, I have to touch it. And the scoreboard will be updated, and also we have an effect when the enemy is hit. Okay, now we wanted to add, today we want to add animations and sounds. Okay, animation. For the animation, we have to set this to switch from this, that is the this one, that is the setting the bitmap of the player that is static to that bitmap to a sequence. In our case, the animation will be only 2. So we duplicate this. Okay, this first animation is this one, but is exactly animation. First slide is essentially the same as this one. We want to create a second one that will be a little different. I don't know, something like this. I'm not sure what animation will be, but apply. And we call it, player 1, I don't know, underscore 1. Okay, now we go back here where we have the pointer, the bitmap. So we can delete the block, but for now, let's just disable. Disabling is essentially keeping it here, but it doesn't work. In fact, if I compile, you see that player 1 disappeared because there is no bitmap associated. So go to the graphics and I have animate player. So let's do this, animate player. And I put, okay, sorry, I have to move a little bit the screen. And I put here. So this requires a few things. First, the 2 frames. So we call the first frame player 1 bitmap. And we put in, I moved too much, in the first frame. And the second frame was called player 1 underscore 1. Let's copy and paste here. So these are the 2 frames of animation. Then I need to create 2 variables with this name. I can change this name, but I can keep it for now. But it's important to define 2 variables of this type. They are used by the application to create animation. So I go to definition of a variable. So I duplicate one and I give this name, and also the second one that was here. So the timer. These 2 are requested to create correctly the animation. So duplicate. Okay, timer. So now, if we try this, okay, the speed means how many frames the animation is generated. So let's try. As you see, the animation is pretty bad, but essentially is what I created before. So is switching between these 2 frames we created. So it's pretty quick. So let's increase the number of frames between each frame. It will be a little slower. Okay, but now, so this is animated always. I can move it, it's always animated. Maybe I want this to move like that when it's actually moving around the screen and remain static when it's not moving. So there are various ways, but one way is to go to input, and there is a if joystick is moving. So if I go here, position here, I say if joystick is moving, then, oh, sorry, forgot, Control to get one block. I select the animation. If joystick is not moving, then I just set the static bitmap. I can re-enable the block. So if I compile now, you see it's not doing anything, but if I start moving, the animation starts. Still able to fire as before. So this is a good way to create animation. It's very easy because just check if a joystick is moving in any direction. Okay, now let's move to the sounds. So we wanted to associate a sound to when you fire a missile and then when the enemy is hit. So let's go to sounds. First thing we need to do always is to select to init the sound. So we go to init sound. This creates some code useful for the sounds. If you don't need to do any sound, you don't use that, and you use less memory. But in this case, we want to use it, so we need to run at least only one time in the init this function. Then let's add the actual sounds. So here, if joystick is firing, so this is the function that was used to create a missile, we can add one sound. So let's say play sound, missile. And then the second sound is when the enemy is hit. Okay, let's try the sound before like this. Will probably not work. I'll explain that why. So let's set the volume. So there is no sound. Okay, there is no sound because in the sound, as you see, there is an update sound thing. This is called every frame. So in the block, in the overscan or in the vBlank, that one, that are the logic block, I need to call this function one time. So, and will be essentially called every frame. So I do update sounds. If I do generate, compile, I have this sound. If I change to something else, like, I don't know, laser. And then we need to add the sound for when the enemy is hit. So I go to sounds, and if collision, so this is the event that happens when there is a collision between the missile and the player 2, and we use, I don't know, hit. Okay, let's see what happens. So I can change to, I don't know, explosion. Let's see what happens with explosion. Okay, I need to hit. So just to recap, for animation, you need to use this block to set 2 frames. Animations will be only 2 frames. You select which player, and you have to create 2 variables to make the animation working correctly. And with the frames, you select how many frames is between one frame and another. So more frames, slower is animation. So now it's this. If I do 3, it will be super quick. Then I can use the if joystick is moving to select when doing the animation or setting just a static bitmap, if I move the joystick or not. And then, of course, I need to create enough bitmaps for the animation. Regarding the sound, we need to init the sound in the init section. Then we add the actual sound we want with play sound in the various actions, like in this case, while firing and while there is a collision. And then in the overscan or vBlank area, we need to set the update sounds. In this way, the sound, essentially every frame is evaluated and the system will decide if generating a sound or not. Okay, I think it's okay for this lesson, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.